What do Batman, Elsa from Frozen, and Bruce Banner, the Hulk, have in common? Their childhood fears didn't just fade away. They transformed into the driving forces behind who they are as adults. But what if I told you that the fears you faced as a child are still shaping the way you think, feel, and act today? From career choices to relationships, childhood fears leave an indelible mark on adult personalities, often in ways we don't realize. Childhood fears are not just passing emotions. They are fundamental experiences that shape how our brains develop. Fear activates the amygdala, the brain's center for emotional processing, teaching us to respond to threats and stress. When these fears are recurring or unresolved, they can deeply influence personality traits, coping mechanisms, and behavioral patterns. Popular culture provides compelling illustrations of how childhood fears can mold adult personalities. 1. Bruce Wayne's life changed forever when he witnessed his parents' murder as a child. This traumatic event instilled a deep fear of powerlessness and loss, driving him to become a hero who controls every aspect of his life. His fear manifests as hypervigilance, perfectionism, and a refusal to form deep emotional connections. Takeaway: fear of vulnerability often leads to traits like control-seeking and avoidance of intimacy in adulthood. 2. Elsa's fear of her powers hurting others began as a childhood trauma. Her need to suppress her emotions led to isolation and anxiety as an adult. Takeaway: early fears of rejection or failure can result in adults struggling with perfectionism or withdrawing from social situations. 3. Bruce Banner, the Hulk. A childhood marked by abuse left Banner with repressed anger and fear. As an adult, his inability to control his emotions transforms him into the Hulk when stressed. Takeaway: suppressed childhood fears of conflict can manifest as explosive outbursts in adulthood. How specific childhood fears shape adult traits. 1. Fear of abandonment. Children who fear being left alone often develop heightened emotional sensitivity. As adults, they might become people pleasers, seeking validation to avoid rejection. Example: in Toy Story, Woody's jealousy stems from his fear of being replaced, a theme common to people with abandonment issues. 2. Fear of failure. A child who fears failure may grow into a perfectionist, overcompensating to avoid criticism. Alternatively, they might avoid challenges altogether. Many high-achieving professionals report an inner critic that traces back to early fears of disappointing parents or teachers. 3. Fear of the unknown. Children who grew up fearing uncertainty may either develop adventurous, risk-taking traits to overcome it, or remain overly cautious and avoidant. Film example: Frodo in The Lord of the Rings overcomes his fear of the unknown by stepping into his destiny, showing how confronting fears builds resilience. The science of fear and personality development. Childhood fears don't just fade, they embed themselves in our subconscious. Psychologists have identified 2 key pathways. 1. Fight response. Some individuals face childhood fears by becoming highly assertive, competitive, or controlling. This is common in Type A personalities. Example: entrepreneurs often cite childhood adversity as the spark for their resilience. 2. Flight response. Others cope by withdrawing or avoiding the situations that trigger their fears. These individuals may become more introverted, conflict-averse, or overly cautious. A 2020 study published in Developmental Psychology found that unresolved childhood fears often correlate with higher levels of anxiety and neuroticism in adulthood. These fears also influence attachment styles, affecting relationships and social interactions. How to turn childhood fears into strengths. Rather than letting fears define you, they can be transformed into growth opportunities. 1. Recognize the fear. Reflect on your childhood and identify what scared you most. Example: did criticism make you feel small? That fear might now fuel your drive to succeed. 2. Reframe the fear. Turn it into a strength. If fear of failure haunts you, remind yourself that mistakes are part of growth. 3. Seek professional guidance. Therapy or counseling can help untangle how childhood fears are influencing you today. 4. Channel fear into purpose. Just as Bruce Wayne turned his trauma into a mission, you can use your fears to fuel positive actions. Practical application for viewers. Think of your fears as the shadows that shaped you. What scared you as a child might explain why you procrastinate, overthink, or avoid confrontation today. Identifying these connections helps you break free from patterns holding you back. Take a moment to write down your most vivid childhood fear. Now, ask yourself, how does this fear show up in your life now? What strengths has it given you? How can you use it to grow? Childhood fears are powerful forces that can shape your personality in unexpected ways. But as Elsa learns in Frozen, embracing your fears rather than running from them is the key to becoming your authentic self. In the words of Batman, our greatest fears can become our greatest strengths. If you want to dive deeper into how fear and other emotions shape your personality, subscribe and stay tuned for my upcoming series on personality psychology. Let's uncover the traits that make you, you.